Hi, in this video I'd like to go over some important elements of drama. Like all stories, drama needs a plot. The plot is basically the main sequence of events telling a story. It starts usually with the exposition, when you're introduced to characters and situations. Then comes the rising action. That's usually when you start feeling the tension, something is wrong, something needs to be resolved, something comes up. Eventually, the conflict comes to a climax. There is a moment, a situation that ultimately comes to a head and something needs to happen. Afterwards, there is the falling action. Things start to settle down, and the end of the story is the resolution. Now, of course, people are creative, as artists are, and there are all kinds of stories that have challenged this sequence, but typically, traditionally, most storylines have this plot. The one thing that you need to remember is that there always needs to be a conflict. If there's no conflict, there is no story. So something needs to happen. A play is divided into acts and scenes. They break up the story much like chapters and subheadings do in a book. The big sections are acts, and within each act there are scenes. So an act is a division. It is a coherent, solid chapter, if you will, a unit for analysis that you can see, okay, that chapter, or in this case, in a drama, this act had exposition, rising action. The next act will have the conflict, and the third act will have maybe the falling action and the resolution. So think of those as acts are one unit that you can identify and analyze to see what is happening in that self-contained act. Within the act, there will be scenes. And so drama, it's meant for the theater, right? It's meant to be acted out. So usually there needs to be a scene that will signal change, such as that is when like the curtain might drop or the lights might dim. There might be a blackout, and this happens so that props can be changed on the stage, or there might be a quick costume change. It's a change in scenery or in time or in place. So that's the significance of a scene. Very, very important in drama and theater is dialogue and monologue. That's the language. So language is of utmost importance because in a play it must be brief. Unlike a novel or a short story that can go on for some time, it really is everything we learn about the play is contained in what is spoken. Because of limitations to verbal explanation, it is very important that actors bring the character to life and enhance the verbal explanations with their body language, with their tone, facial expressions, pausing at certain points in the dialogue, and volume. How loud or how quiet are they? All of this is extremely important to bring significance to the words on their script. The actors must bring the words to life. So you'll notice things like when they make eye contact with each other in a dialogue, or when they turn and look at the audience and make eye contact with us. Are they looking at the floor? Are they loud and then quiet? When do they pause to reflect that they're being thoughtful or hesitant? What is their tone? The tone will give it the feeling behind the word. Is it sarcastic? Is it sincere? Is it meant to be funny? And of course, there really is no play if there's no audience, because the audience and the purpose go hand in hand. The audience, we are in relationship with the actors. This is very important, and the actors know this. So the viewers and listeners of this play, we go on this journey, this story with the actor or actors, and our response is the measure of how well the story was delivered, because it is live. This is the beauty of theater, that unlike film and TV, which can be edited over and over again, they do multiple takes and then they edit. Theater is live. They can't say, oh, we need a do-over. We need to edit this part out. It didn't land quite right. The actors are under this extreme amount of pressure to get it right in that moment, because there is no do-over. So what thoughts and emotions does an actor need to communicate their audience? Through body language, tone, facial expressions, pauses, volume. What do they need to tap into to make sure that they get it quite right, so that their audience, all of us watching and listening, can get it, can get the purpose behind what they are saying, what they're trying to communicate? This is where stage directions are very important for actors, because stage directions provide guidance for the actors. For example, if you're reading the play, and I hope you have read it, you're reading the play, and in between the dialogue in the script, you will see that there are stage directions for where to place their hands or where to move an object. Are they fiddling with their clothes? Are they looking down at their shoes? Are they pacing? Are they meant to pace around the room? Will they have little or no movement? How much freedom do they have? So sometimes actors will choose to do this, to use the space around them, explore the stage, reach for something, make eye movement, and so on. That's not in the stage directions. So that just depends on whether the director encourages this or not. And that's, we call this artistic freedom. So some directors are very, very trusting of the actor and allow them to have a lot of freedom to bring the character to life, and other directors may not. So actors embody a character, but also explore who they are, who they as people are in relation to the character's situation. And this helps them tap into their own emotions and thoughts to breathe life into that character. So if you've ever noticed in movies that an actor is really good at crying, you might wonder, wow, how does that actor cry so much, so hard at the drop of a hat? And they're just acting. So actors have their secrets, their ways of tapping into, places in themselves that they've lived through, things they've experienced. And so it's emotionally hard work to be an actor, because they have to pull all that out in order to really make this character on the stage or on the screen believable. Or actors who show fear or who show joy. You have to think about how these actors are tapping into their own personal wells of emotion to try to bring this to life in that moment. And then the difficulty for actors is then how do they kind of put that away when they're finished acting? Characterization is probably one of the most important elements in drama, right? Characterization and language, dialogue. So there are different types of characters. And we'll learn more about this when we go into fiction. But characters are either complex, meaning that a character is the one person in the story that is fully developed, they're multidimensional, they're complicated. Like real people, they have conflicts to face, and this is the important part, a complex character changes throughout the story. Usually a complex character is the one facing a conflict or having to make decisions, or their personality changes throughout the story. A flat characters don't have conflict. They don't change. Their job is there to support the complex characters. So that's the main difference, right? Complex characters seem like real people. They're dealing with real issues, and they're going to change from beginning to end. Or if they don't change from beginning to end, you know that they were still fighting something, battling something, working through something, having to make decisions. Flat characters don't. They're just there as the sidekicks. So how do you get to know a character? You get to know a character, I think, pretty much in the same way that you get to know people in the world, people in your life. By how someone presents, their physical appearance, their looks, their dress, their body language, how they carry themselves. So appearance, because we all have a say in our appearance, this says something about the person or the character. Expressions, what they say and how they say it. How does someone talk and what do they say? Are they characters who just spend their day gossiping, but they never have serious, deep thoughts? Or are they people or characters who are very thoughtful, who are analyzing situations, who are kind when they say things, or snappy and angry when they say things? Are they short-tempered when they speak? Or do they use pauses and consideration when they speak? And finally, thoughts. Character psychology, right? What's going on in their minds? What are their values? What are their beliefs, their motivations? What are they thinking about? What are their goals? So remember this. This is how you get to know people, and this is how you get to know characters. Appearance, expressions, and thoughts. And we get to know characters either explicitly or implicitly. So explicitly, for characters in a play, in drama, we are told things about those characters, or even in fiction, we are told that they are angry. We are told that they are grieving. We are told what they are struggling with. Implicitly is when we are not told, but we can see that about a character. This takes a little more work on the reader, viewer, listener part, because we have to make inferences based on how they express themselves, based on their thoughts, based on their appearance. We are doing the work as audience members, as readers, to make inferences and judgments and assessments about the characters. So think of characters as multi-dimensional if you're looking at complex characters, and this chart just has some examples here. So what are their physical characteristics? What are their emotional, expressive characteristics? And what is going on with them psychologically? So up here, I really love this visual. Up here, their actions, their speech, their thoughts. This is what we see, right? And then what is below the surface, this big iceberg here, this is what is implicit very often. That is guiding or motivating their actions, their speech, their thoughts? Why do they speak the way that they do? Why do they think the way they do? Why do they act the way they do? Maybe it's because of their social status. Maybe it's because of stress they're dealing with. Maybe it's because of regret or grief. And in the next video, I'd like to show you a scene of fences. And as you watch, pay attention to body language, tone, facial expressions, pauses, and volume. So you might want to write these down.